Hey everyone, it's Ray from the Teach Better team, and I have two of the all-stars that just hosted Mastery Chat tonight. Holy cow, was this chat on fire. And you guys know, if you've caught us live, both Brad and Lindsay are insanely awesome when it comes to providing value live on camera. You guys have done so much with the team. Mastery Chat had the exact same feel. There was so many things shared. I cannot wait to get into it with both of you. So if you are watching at home, please feel free to comment, share in your excitement with us, and we'll be right back to recap Mastery Chat. Hey everyone, it's Ray, and we are here to recap Mastery Chat. Brad and Lindsay, holy moly, did you just host the chat of the year? Brad, will you start us off? How are you feeling right now after that intense hour?
I'm feeling great, energized, and just truly humbled. I mean, to be able to partner with Lindsay and the Teach Better team, and just the amazing insight, amazing conversation we had tonight. So I'm fired up.
Insane. Lindsay, how are you feeling?
I am feeling amazing. So, I mean, I have to give kudos to Brad. This was his topic that he invited me to be a part of, and I'm so honored and grateful that he did. And I knew it was going to be a great topic, but I think we even took it like over the top tonight. And yeah, I'm beyond excited.
You know, Ray, it was after hearing Lindsay's podcast back in the fall about teacher efficacy and teacher leadership, and she and I were talking the same language in terms of resilience, in terms of empathy, building ourselves so we can build others. And so I reached out right away and said, we got to team up.
I love it. You guys had so much great discussion. I want to dive into all that. But before we do, if you are listening at home, feel free to comment. You guys know how Mastery Chat works. We participate in Mastery Chat every single Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern. It's an hour-long chat of all the different types of educators that exist on Twitter. We release the questions in advance over at teachbetter.com/masterychat, or you can just participate live as the questions get posted about every 5 to 6 minutes. It's intense. If this is the first time maybe someone's connecting with you, Lindsay and Brad, would you tell us a little bit about yourself so they can kind of hear about what you kind of brought as your background knowledge to this discussion?
Yeah, absolutely. So hey everybody, I'm Lindsay. I am, this is always the tough question of the night. Holy moly. K-12 behavior specialist during the day. And then at night, I am a mindset coach, behavior coach through Define University. And so for me, having 15 years of experience with behavior, which has traditionally been more observable behavior, over the last year, 2 years, I'm like, we're missing something, or I'm missing something. And I really started to dive on the inner work, on my own growth, my own mindset, my own resiliency, and really learning and overcoming things, but not overcoming like, well, it happened and here I am, but really learning the meaning and the message. And the more that I applied this to my own life, it became easier to apply to my students that I was working with and the staff. And so for me, that's kind of the journey where it came from, is really understanding how truly the mindset we hold, the language we use, and the actions we take is the behavior that we see every day. So that's kind of my background.
Brad, what about you?
I'm Brad Hughes from Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. Lindsay and I share a commitment to personal growth, but also creating conditions where the people around us can grow and be their best and provide their best for kids. I'm a K-6 elementary principal in Waterloo region. I'm an educator with 25 years experience from K to 8th grade. And I'm passionate about service. I'm passionate about building people up. I'm passionate about pouring love into the adults that serve our kids. Passionate about helping our school community and helping other communities that reach out or that I connect with grow in service and purpose and happiness and fun. So that's my day job. By night, I'm I'm a parent. I'm a partner. I'm an aspiring blogger and podcaster, and tremendously excited to continue to contribute to and learn along with the Teach Better team, Ray.
Well, I was thrilled when I saw that you guys were hosting together, because in my mind, having one of you meant that I was going to have a wonderful night with this conversation. You guys are both masters at just like mic drop moments. Now putting you together, I won't lie, I was a little scared. I was like, do you think we're going to break Twitter? What's the plan here? Like, what if we can't have the conversation because everyone's like passed out? I don't understand what we're going to do. So thankfully, I can say that we all survived it, even though I know my heart was racing the whole time. Brad, Lindsay, can you summarize what was today's topic? If this is somebody's first experience jumping in, maybe they didn't get to participate in the hour-long Twitter chat, now they're just here for the recap, but they still want to gain all that value. What was the topic that we discussed for the entire hour?
Lindsay, I think you'd agree that as educators and as community members, we've never been in more stressful or important circumstances to be our best. And everything around us is sapping our attention, our energy, our resolve. And it poses a real danger to our health and well-being. And so being the best educators, family members, community members that we can demands resilience. And so Lindsay and I were getting at this topic of resilience. What is it? How do we grow it? How do we maintain it? And I was just so thrilled with the energy right up to the very end of the chat. And Lindsay, maybe you can talk a little bit too about, I mean, it was the content of your podcast in terms of teacher efficacy that really caught my attention and made me think we've got to get together on this.
Yeah, I think what's so important is that, especially over these last, 9-10 months now, there tends to be certain mindsets that come out. You either get the people that are like, I'm just going to survive. Then you get the we're going to figure it out no matter what. And you get everything in between. And I think what I, really tried to hit at is that it's not about like kind of either end, but it truly is about who you are and understanding how you are kind of embraced with what's going on. And by owning who you are and by owning what it is you're feeling and not being ashamed of what you're feeling. But the moment that you can say, this is what I'm feeling and this is what I'm thinking, that's when the power comes. That's the start of your resiliency, because we have to be able to become aware. We have to know, we have to have that awareness before we're ever going to take action. I think I see so many educators doing. And I think part of the reason we do is because that's what we are. We're service leaders. We lead from the heart. But if we're taking action without that awareness, without that acceptance of how I'm feeling and acknowledgement of where I want to go, we're spinning our wheels. We're on the merry-go-round, not going anywhere, maybe enjoying the ride for a minute. And then we're like, okay, get me off. Right. And I think our whole goal was, we don't want to get off. Like, we want to stay in this field, this career that we love. But how do we do it? We do it with the support of others, the support of ourselves, and trust in where I am and where I'm going.
Yeah, and Lindsay and Ray, that idea of companionship, of having people around you that will have your back, that will support you if you fall, that can hold space for you if you're feeling down, deflated, defeated, angry, frustrated. That's essential. The other thing that I was so thrilled that came out of the chat was this acknowledgement that resilience and empathy, they just don't happen. They are tremendously energy intensive. The energy that we devote to maintaining our composure, to maintaining the ability to bounce back or to bounce forward, that takes energy. And in order to restore the energy, as Lindsay said, you got to know yourself. You got to get comfortable with being yourself and providing what you can. And Ray, you said it so eloquently and so effectively. It's you strive for your daily best. You provide your daily best, knowing that as educators, I'm going to tell you, if one of our contributors tonight, they were reflecting on a rough day and a day where they felt they weren't giving their all. And it's like, as educators, if we think we're operating at 20%, that's probably someone else's 100%. And there's really no number about it. You give what you can, you provide what you can, but gosh, the relationships. So the relationships around us they're things that are going to protect us and they're going to restore us when we're down. And I was just so grateful to see that come out. Resilience and empathy comes at a cost, but if you can repay the cost in terms of the energy lost, the benefit to you and the people around you is immeasurable.
Well, and ain't that the truth? As I was going through this conversation, I think that these are all concepts that people really held on to. I think similar to me, it's what I really needed to be reminded about tonight as we continue throughout our week, as we, continue through the year of 2021, wanting to ensure that we are keeping these ideas at the forefront of the conversation. You guys asked a lot of questions. Was there a question that you were either excited to ask because you thought it would foster really great discussion, or one that you kind of were surprised about the direction people took? Did you fall into one of those categories as the questions continued?
I love them all. I remember when we were starting to write them, I was like, oh man, like we could have had like 50. Like we had so many, and we were like paring them down. And I think one of my favorites, and it's one because my mindset has actually kind of shifted, just even with some own training that I've done. I actually think it was a webinar that Brad had sent me, was this concept of, is it bouncing back or bouncing forward, right? And I love it because so many people hit on, like, can it be both? And I was like, yeah, you don't have to ask permission. Like, it gets to be whatever you want it to be. Like, just defend it, right? And defend it with your authenticity. There's no right answer here. It doesn't have to be or, it can absolutely be and. And in a training I recently watched, it really kind of made me aware of this. And it said, when we're talking about resiliency, you could look at a tennis ball, right? If you squeeze a tennis ball, it's going to go in, but then it's going to bounce right back, right? That's just the nature of the rubber or whatever it's made out of. It's going to bounce back. It's still functional. You can use it. Great. Go back to it. It said, now imagine you're going to squeeze a tomato. And I was like, where? Like, no, that doesn't go back. Like, you squeeze a tomato, it's everywhere. And it says, but imagine you squeeze a tomato outside in soil. That tomato is going to smush into the ground and it's going to grow into something beautiful. It's going to take time. It's going to take, the sunshine and the water, but it's going to bounce forward. It is going to become something new. And I'm a bounce forward person. That's where my brain automatically goes. But just remembering that analogy and so many of the comments that were like, well, can it be both? And they gave such descriptive examples I was like, heck yeah, it can. And so I myself found myself like, oh, like I found myself growing with that definition, like through the chat, which was amazing.
Ray and Lindsay, the question that I was super excited about was question number 8. And what I was excited about was that people still had the energy to dig in at the end of our hour. And that question had to do with being aware that we have the power to influence and shape the conditions in which we're striving to be our best. And when we encounter situations where our energy keeps being depleted and our resilience keeps getting tested, and one of the contributors even said, sort of just to summarize, you risk being so resilient that you burn out. You've got nothing left, and burnout is such a costly wake up call that you and others need to work together to work on those conditions way further upstream before you get to that point, and challenging the status quo and challenging conditions that are energy depleting is a key part of our work as educators, and for me as a school leader. It's to try to reduce the stresses, reduce the wasteful worry, reduce the distractions so people can focus on their core purpose, recognizing that if we're teaching, leading, and learning in a pandemic, we're already stressed. Our energy is already depleted. Our attention is already challenged. Keeping things in balance so that we don't burn out, I'd say that's a key responsibility of school leaders right now, is to protect your people. Protect your people from stresses that are outside of their control and help to reframe the stresses, helping them understand what is really within their sphere of influence and what is really out of their control. If it's out of your control, let's not waste energy. The energy is precious right now.
Mm-hmm. So important. I love these recaps because I think it really allows the hour discussion to really get molded into a really, really small bite-sized takeaway. And even in the comments that we've been seeing coming in as you've been talking, there's so many educators that were like, oh, I wish I would have been able to pop in, but I'm so glad we could do this recap to hear about how the chat went. And other educators that are sharing, ooh, I really want to go back and read these questions, read the feedback. And that's kind of the nice part of hosting a Twitter chat, is at any time You just search up that hashtag, you can go back to see the responses, people's takeaways, key resources that were shared, and that will be there for you. So go back at any time and you can start to dive into these ideas and still using the hashtag, continue to foster that same conversation. You know, I think it's so tough to fit all this in an hour. And you're right, the energy was so stinking high by the end of it because people were so hungry to continue sharing, continue reflecting. And Lindsay, to your point, looking at those metaphors and really finding the beauty in what life has to bring, regardless of what hurdles come our way. I always like to ask, and I'm sure that you've alluded to it, I know that we've discussed it slightly, but if there was one takeaway that you're at home right now, crossing your fingers saying, gosh, I really, really hope this message was clear for those participating. What would that be? Would it be different for each of you?
I think for me, I think the biggest takeaway, and I saw it come through in so many of the questions, is that when you're thinking of something like resiliency, when you're thinking of this skill that we can learn, that we are capable of learning, it is a personalized process for everybody that we practice every day. So it is not a one and done. It is not like today I'm going to sit down and learn resiliency. Like, it's not. And I know I laugh because I think we live in this fast-paced world. We live in this world where we get mad if something's going to take more than a day to get to us, or if I can't do it instantly, right? So this is something where we have to remind ourselves this is a process we practice every day. But I love adding the personalized because I mean, you both know, right? If we're not personalizing it for us, where are we living? We're living in Shouldville.
I'm good, guys. It only took 16 minutes to talk about Shouldville.
Get out of Shouldville. Come on, get out of there.
So for me, that was the biggest takeaway. And people were getting that. You know, again, there wasn't a question that was, how do you personalize your resiliency? But through those questions, so many people were saying, it has to come to me. It has to come within me. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and clearly, I mean, developing resilience and honoring your own resilience is a tremendously personal journey. And one takeaway that I was so gratified to hear that people kept coming back to is that journey does not happen in isolation. You can't resilience yourself. As educators, we can't resilience kids. We can't even impart resilience on kids. And a couple of our commentators, I was so grateful that we were beginning to address the fallacy of grit. That is saying if kids could only be more resilient, if they only had more grit, just pick yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going. That is so disingenuous and so harmful. The risk there is that we're asking kids or ourselves to change our lives for the better amid the same conditions that are pushing us down. And so recognizing that developing resilience and developing it all comes back again to the relationships. And one of the contributors posted a list of how to build resiliency in kids. And what I was so gratified to see was in that list, it positioned the educator or caregiver or parent or principal, it positioned an adult as the facilitator and the moderator and the companion in developing resistance. I mean, we model the behaviors that we desire to see our kids exhibit, and we want them to flourish in that. But resilience happens when you have people around you that make it possible for you to take risks and fail, knowing that someone's going to have your back. People who are going to support you in sort of laughing at and laughing with others, and seeing the humor and seeing just the humanity. I mean, the failure, the struggle is something that binds us all as human beings. And especially in our pandemic situation, it's crucial to have people around you that are going to champion your own resilience, hold you accountable when you feel that you fall short, and remind yourself, you do you. No one else can be you. No one else can do you. And just like Lindsay said, you got to get out of Shouldville, because the quest for resilience can often mean that I should have done, or I would have done, or I wish I had. No, that's what you need to do is to focus on the here and the now and the you. There is no one in the world better capable of being you than you. And so that's our wish for everybody leaving tonight, is to recognize that you are unique and valued in the world. Your journey as a greater and greater resilience is championed by us. And as you said, Ray and Lindsay, we are here together. This is what the spirit of Teach Better Team is. This is the spirit of Mastery Chat, is we are all in the struggle together. You can always reach back to us, and we'll always have your back.
So true. Guys, I cannot express to you in words how much I love and appreciate both of you existing in my life. You are both such incredible educators, but like human beings. And I am so appreciative that you hosted this incredible conversation. I'm actually still getting messages on my phone that people are still tweeting, which I'm like, oh my God, guys, this is a half an hour after the hour-long conversation. It was just that intense, that valuable for our network. I want to encourage everybody listening, you got to go connect with these people, guys. Lindsay and Brad are truly people that I connect with so I can grow and be better. And I know that so many people also feel that way about you both. And I'm so appreciative of the work you do and the work you will continue to do for all the amazing people, not only in the Teach Better family, but truly worldwide. So we really appreciate all of you. And guys, thanks for coming live and talking shop with me, because I know it takes a lot of time, and this was just truly a gift. So thank you.
Truly a gift to us, and we grow as a result of the influence of this team, Ray. So you give certainly as much and more than you get back from either of us. We're grateful too.
So good. As we go out, I hope that everybody pops over to Mastery Chat next week. There's so many things going on with the team. Continue to be a connected educator. Continue to celebrate all that's going on, not only in your life, but in the lives of educators connected to us. And Lindsay, I just have to tell you, because you and I have not been live together, so stoked about the journal. And I have loved following people getting it in the mail and all the celebration people are having. So Lindsay, you're just doing incredible things. I'm so proud of you. And I mean that in like wanting to be your best friend, like so stoked to know you kind of way. So thank you for all that you guys do.
Thank you so much, Ray.
All right, for everyone else, we will see you later, and have a wonderful Thursday.